Here we go. Well, happy Sunday morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower, of course, coming to you from an undisclosed location deep in the heart of American flyover country. And he's Wayne Steiger, my normal and regular co-host. I guess normal and regular are relative terms there. And This is not your normal Sunday show. How are you, Wayne?
I'm doing well, my friend, and yourself.
Jay asked me this the other day, and I gave him the same answer, and it's really true. If I've been better, I can't remember when.
Yeah, my retort is, if I was any better, I'd be guilty.
Well, I am guilty. There's no doubt about that.
Exactly. I think that was
under the radar, over the top, Wayne. That's how I roll.
Well, by the way, that was from the movie Wall Street.
Was that on Wall Street?
It was actually, yeah. It was the famous line Bud Fox said as he was right after he had landed the Gecko deal.
He said he was under the radar, but over the top?
No. If I was any better, I'd be guilty.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
It was a great movie. Yeah.
The second one they did with Douglas and Sheen was pretty good too, I thought. When
Which
Douglas
one was
when he got out of jail, and it was like, I forget what they called it.
Wall Street Never Sleeps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. I've always liked Michael Douglas. He's just one of those cool guys.
It's too bad that he's getting old.
Peter Torkin passed over this week. The Monkees.
They were the Monkees.
Yeah, he's passed over.
I had an opportunity to get, in fact, the last time that I was really, really bleary-eyed, inebriated, it was with Davy Jones, Peter, the other two monkey guys, and one of my best friends, and we were in Laughlin, Nevada, and we used to say we were so high we were seeing God. We were totally, completely trashed.
Would not see you in that scene. Just
yeah, and I was even still a preacher then, and we, free shots at Crown Royal, and wow. And the Monkees. I mean, how can you not drink if you're with the Monkees?
I mean,
Davy Jones.
I remember him. It's the passage of time. Peter Frampton announced yesterday that this will be his last year touring. He has a neurological degenerative disease. And,
that's terrible.
Eric Clapton can't play anymore. He has rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah, it's just.
And yet the Rolling Stones go on and on.
And then there was this article today in Men's Health that said that the new 60s,
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rise of the new Superfit 60s.
Yeah,
that's what I'm aiming for, Wayne. That's me.
Well,
I'm a few years from that yet, but I'm aiming for that.
Yeah, I'll be 64 this year, and it's it's going on. I mean,
well, Jay Campbell can get you dialed in, Wayne.
Pretty good already, but you can always find room for improvement. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, Wayne, but Jay could put you in a Speedo, brother.
I tell you, I think my path, I like the balance. And, I was telling you before we got started, got this, I've been in a writer's block, just for literally 2 or 3 months, and hit a break out. So, yeah. So everything is good in the world. How are you doing in your neck of the woods?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying everything. And like I said, if I was any better, I would, I can't remember when, but at 11 o'clock today, something interesting, 11 o'clock on my channel, 11 Central, I'm going to be debating Zachary Hubbard of the Gematria News, and we're going to debate about the Electoral College.
Is he for or against?
He is very much against.
Ooh, well.
That was my response too, Wayne.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I have family that lives down in Houston, and this one is particularly of the Democratic persuasion. And, the November elections in Houston, they kicked out all the Republicans, all the independents, the voters did. And, he was kind of boasting about it. And I said, well, Viovo, Commandant, now that you've gotten rid of all the opposition, isn't that called communism?
Yeah.
So here's my 2 cents. You can add to that debate. Our founding fathers were a hell of a lot smarter than these cats that are trying to bring in socialism. And the thing about the Electoral College is it is the block that will prevent communism or socialism. And we've got a lot of socialism. Well, because you see, you have to have the duality strategy. And Clinton showed it. It's very difficult to balance one that you think you have in the popular vote and then one that really counts, which is the vote of what I call of the true people. That is the Electoral College. Now, it can be bought. The Clintons tried to contaminate it. This last election, the shenanigans, she should be in jail right now. As Comey should be in jail. Rothstein should be handcuffed and should be indicted by now.
Well, he's leaving by March 15th.
Well, he you know why? Get this, that son of a bitch, and I hope Trump fires him on the 14th so he doesn't get his pension.
It's been done before.
It certainly has.
Ask Andrew McCabe.
These and McCabe, these are all traitors. That's all the way you can look at it. I don't care what anyone says. It's unconscionable that we have an ongoing coup right now. And now this is how brazen they are. We've got members in Congress who are admitting to be part of this coup.
Yep.
And you know what? They're in both houses.
Oh, absolutely. On both sides of the aisle.
And Democrats. When I see this kind of this hatred, this blind racism is all it is. It's racism of a political nature, that it becomes so much that where you have such racism, a hate, that you want to harm another individual just because they wear a hat.
Exactly. And Wayne, it's really sad that Donald Trump and the MAGA hat-wearing people have created such a horrible society that a poor black gay person still has to hire people to fake beating them up in this world. And I'm sure that's Donald Trump's fault, that guy hired some people to beat him up. What kind of a world do we live in when Donald Trump makes people hire people to beat them up? What kind of a world is it when a guy has to fake getting beat up?
It's a sad place we are.
Oh my!
I contend that the dragon that appeared, and there be dragons out there. In this breakthrough, I know where God lives, physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely do. It's been in front of us the whole time. We've all been taught by the indoctrination that it's some ideological, mystical place way out there. That, when you get the spirit out, you'll float up there, or you're going to, no. It tells us exactly where it is. It is in the firmament above us. And how I got into this is that when I began to study the aurora borealis of the northern and southern lights, and going back and doing referencing work, it dawned on me. These are light beings. They manifest themselves as light, energy. It never occurred to me that there would be an actual physical realm of a kingdom literally above our heads.
Sorry, Wayne, I have to ban somebody forever.
Bye.
Yeah, we don't allow that filthy, nasty, disgusting hate crap here, so goodbye.
It's like, do the Johnny Ringo thing. Bye.
That was Curly Bill, bro.
Curly Bill, excuse me, yes. Yeah.
Well, bye.
So,
and Wayne, I'm going to do a show on this later, but we've got to address this, and I hate to do it, but it's got to be addressed. Somebody in the chat room, did you see the story by Dabu that the moon is actually in our atmosphere? Well, I watched the Dabu thing. I didn't watch it myself. I got a blow-by-blow report on it. And what Dabu, I know he's got a big channel, and I don't know if he's a flat earther or whatever, but what I do know is that he twisted it and said something that wasn't true. He made it seem like they said that the moon was a lot closer than we actually think it is. And that's not what they said. They said the atmosphere of the earth, and really more the effects of the atmosphere of the earth, extends much further than we thought it did before. So Dabu 7 ought to apologize. It was a shameful presentation. I don't care how many subscribers he has. It was a shameful presentation. The moon is not an inch closer. And if you're going to use this as, oh, see, it is a flat earth, then you're going to have to eat your words for saying, oh, we couldn't go to the moon. It's all fake. Because if it's under your firmament, then why couldn't you go? So pick your poison, stop being stupid, and quit deceiving people.
I'm glad you said that, because the article said strictly it's our understanding of the Earth's atmosphere. It now is greater, and it's what we're discovering with the sun's heliosphere.
Well, that explains it. I've been told that he's a flat earth Christian.
Well,
flathead Christian.
They can have it their way, I guess.
Yeah, this world is Burger King, isn't it? That's the problem with YouTube, is it's just like Burger King. You can have it your way.
Yeah, except that when you start crossing their way, then you get shadow banned, and we know how that is. And
what does shadow banned actually mean?
They actually slow you down. They slow down your recommendations. They slow down your ability for subscribers. It's happening to me. I was hitting nearly 3,000 a month, and now it's down to 300.
Ooh. And Warrior Queen asked, Jeff, did that happen with, I guess his name is Jesse Smollett. I just call him Juicy Wallet because that's what he was trying to do. No, Warrior Queen, he actually, and the guy, I mean, I don't want to say he's stupid, but he hired two people to beat him up and wrote him a check. Left a paper trail, and he actually hired two people to beat him up and get it on film so he could get a higher salary from his TV show. He wanted to make himself a bigger star. I've never heard of the guy, but no, it was real life, Warrior Queen.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, the judge, I think the judge, who was a black judge, told him, he said, you, sir, have done more harm than, he said, haters.
Wow.
And yeah. And that boy may be going to jail. I
don't know if he should go to jail or not, but I mean, he certainly needs to repay and reimburse the city for all of the time and man hours of investigation, and he certainly needs to be shunned from all. I mean, yeah, he should be publicly. I think it'd be better if he was publicly tarred and feathered.
They don't do that nowadays. Well, here's the problem.
I'm all for nostalgia. Let's bring it back. Although I guess that hot tar could really hurt people. Well, he wrote himself a letter. He wrote his own self a letter.
He wrote his own self, yeah.
That said, "You're going to die, black fag." I mean, I'm just reporting the news here.
It's sad.
Can you imagine the hatred and the situation in this country where this guy can do that? And then I knew from the second it happened it was fake, and people are, out there saying, "Oh, it's so terrible. It has to be this way in the country."
So we don't hear from Camellia Harris. We don't hear from the OC.
Yeah, where is Ocasio-Cortez?
They can't even find out where she lives. Isn't that odd?
She's from Cali, right? Or is she from New York?
She's from New York, but they can't find out where she's living in Washington, D.C. Isn't it odd, too, that this socialist who is all about enslaving the public and double standards, how she riles against the quote-unquote establishment but breaks the rules to bring her boyfriend on to get him a big fat check.
Kamala Harris is the aunt of Juicy Wallet, Jesse Smollett.
Oh, well, maybe that's why she's so quiet.
How about that?
We live in an age of hypocrisy.
Going to jail for beating his own ass.
You've got Elizabeth Warren out there. So
Pocahontas.
This fork-tongued serpent, she's out there. And now to show that she's a known liar and an obvious racist, when you make a claim to a heritage of a people that you're not, that's racism, girl.
It
And
is.
now she wants to, well, what we ought to do now is bring reparations to these people.
Yeah, right. And Delaney Jackson Wayne says that OC lives in a coffin in the basement of the Capitol building.
I didn't say that. I don't monetize these anymore because, man,
That's hilarious.
that would be the thing is like, you're going to hell.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
We just live. I'm telling you, something's changed. I contend that the archons, that there is a battle amongst themselves that has been ongoing. And I contend, sir, that we are seeing a transfer of power at a level that will directly impact humanity.
Well, here's the problem, Wayne, right here. And this was out yesterday on all of the news outlets. And this is the reason for all of this all of these shenanigans. This is the reason for the panic. This is the reason why it looks like the liberals think they're out of time. Because guess what? They are. Gallup reports that liberals outnumber conservatives in only 6 states now, down from 9.
I bet those are the most populous state, those aren't they?
You could name those states right now without even looking at the
chart. I already know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why they're going absolutely bat crap crazy, because they know that they're just about done. And if we start controlling our immigration, it's over for the Democratic Party. And that's the best thing that could ever happen, because we need this crazy bunch of socialists to get their comeuppance, and they can get their 2 or 3 or 4 or 5%, and let there be a true opposition party, a true Democrat party like it used to be, and let us have true differences in our politics and not just 2 wings on the same bird.
Well, I'll just add that that's the reason why we have the Electoral College.
Absolutely, 100%.
That is exactly the only reason why we have the Electoral College.
It is.
And there's no debate. There's no argument. Really you just might as well move on, sunshine, as I would tell.
There will be a debate at 11 a.m. on this channel.
Yeah, get over there. Yeah, that should be it should be lively, as they say.
It should be, Wayne. But you know what? It's a crazy world. But we can get people that are more traditional can get all upset and all worried. But I mean, this story shows what's happening. They know they're becoming irrelevant. And it's really their last great acts of defiance.
Well, in that same Pew report, the largest increases for Trump in the ethnicity group are Hispanics and blacks.
That's right.
So,
in fact, I just got a nice comment this morning from a guy who signed it off, hashtag 2020 Hispanics for Trump. So,
yeah. It's odd that all of these people who won't allow us to protect our sovereignty of our borders are all the ones that have gated communities around their homes.
That's true.
These are the same ones that walk with armed security guards that want to take your guns away. These are the ones,
right.
They're passed a law, apparently, our governor here in Colorado, who, by the way, deceived the public. He changed his name when he was, in fact, shown to have hit a woman in the office.
Well, Barack Obama was a long time known as Barry, was it Soetoro?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Soetoro, yeah.
Soetoro, and failed to disclose that when he ran for president, which is, I don't know if it's a felony, but it's a misdemeanor. You're supposed to say, did you ever operate on any other names? He's put no, and of course he did.
Yeah, well, our governor here played the same 3-card Monte game. And so
wow.
it's.
And Wayne, do you know that Colorado let Ted Bundy escape not once but twice?
Probably made him a sanctuary city. It's crazy, man. I mean, listen. A nation is known by its sovereignty, and it's odd how, I don't know. We live in a world where reality no longer exists. And this is why I contend that if we would elect officials who were awake instead of the ones that are there that are in comas, we wouldn't be in this mess. And listen, the both sides are wrong in here. They just passed, I guess Trump's going to sign it, a $1 trillion budget.
Wow.
You know, I just contend this, Jeff. You study economics a lot and you begin to understand. I, helped design 2 payment systems. Know it well, the payment system. Here's the deal. They don't got any intentions of paying this back. Something is, as they would say in accounting, you're cooking the books.
Yeah, it certainly looks like there's no way to pay it back. I mean, the worldwide debt, I think maybe it was Zachary Hubbard we were talking to, but the worldwide debt cannot be repaid.
It can't. We have now leveraged what the United States is worth well over, I think we're 122% now over what we've borrowed.
And who's it owed to? That's the thing. It's not even real debt.
The thing about it, that's exactly it. So we bring this Federal Reserve, 1913, Jekyll Island, it was the systematic takeover of the financial networks by what I call the elite bankers, the families.
And believe it or not, and I'm probably going to talk about this, and it's like usual, Wayne, I have the right to remain silent, but I lack the ability. The American Civil War was really about instituting the Fed and bringing in fiat currency.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Americans just don't realize we're bankrupt. In fact, I can tell you, I'll just be very candid with you, we are still in a depression. The numbers, everything that we see, we went into officially a depression. Are you ready for this? September 29th, 2008. We have never emerged out of it. And I'll tell you how they did this. The Obama administration, no one read the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform Act. I did. Almost put it to memory. It was the single largest takeover of the final independent source of our financial institutions. It so ingrained itself into what we have. So here's what they did. They altered the way the numbers were taken. You wiped out, and this is the crazy thing, in 2010, the Commerce Department wiped out 10 million Americans off the books. One day they were there, the next day they were gone. To readjust,
what do you mean wiped them out?
To readjust the unemployment numbers.
So they just said, oh, there's 10 million that aren't really here?
Yeah, they literally declassified them out and made them non-people.
Did they send those people off world, Wayne, or did they just pretend they weren't there?
It was a paper calculation.
Because so we had Jenny Moonstone on yesterday, Jenny Constantine, and she was talking about something very well documented. This company started, and it was created. It was creating these chips, and they created these millions of chips. They put them in these people, and all of a sudden, the chips and the people were gone, and the company was gone, never to be heard from again.
I've actually heard
that it was off-world. Those people were off-worlded.
Something's gone. I've heard of something similar that not connected to the chips, but something's going on.
Yeah, Jenny contends there is not only one of the reasons why most of the focus is on our southern border and immigration and all this is because really there's a lot of interdimensional off-world human trafficking going on.
Could be. I contend in my study with Lilith that really what we're dealing with here are these are beings that are genetically altering us.
It's crazy, though. I mean, it really is. And you talk about the whole Robert Kraft thing down in South Florida.
What my wife and I were talking there. Here you got billionaires. What are they going to a hole-in-the-wall looking place? I think it's sex trafficking is what I think it is. But we'll
and the
find
thing
out.
About it is, Wayne, that it is sex trafficking. And if you look on the news, all of the liberals and all of the left are, piling on Robert Kraft, it's horrible, it's horrible, it's horrible. And it is, but they're the same people that don't want to secure the border where most of the human trafficking comes through.
Well, that's because the God they serve is a murderous God.
Yeah, so they have to decide. I mean, somebody has to call them out on their hypocrisy. You can't be against the sex trafficking, uh, the sex trafficking business, and not want to stop the trafficking of the people across the southern border. If they don't get across the border, they don't get wind up as slaves in a rub and tug in South Florida.
Well, again, we get back to this point. This country's bankrupt. So now we've got this perception in the southern country, south of our borders, that perceive the United States as the land that gives out everything. And I wish that we could do that. But no nation can ever, if you, again, you lose your sovereignty, you lose your respect for the law, we don't have a country anymore.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of this reason for wanting to get rid of the Electoral College, because they want to destroy the sovereignty of the individual states.
They want to take away our voice.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat.
Me either.
I'm not even an independent. I think the political structure that we have today stinks. I think if the founding fathers were to be resurrected, they would run all of these charlatans, these carpetbaggers out of Washington and say, you disgraceful things, you are a bloodstain to the honor of those who have died in honor. We've got Congress people right now that are betraying their very oath of office. They are supposed to protect us from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And what's happened? The enemies are now in law enforcement. And now they choose to find out what laws they will look at and what laws they won't. Oh, if you happen to be of a certain political persuasion, guess what? The laws don't affect you. That's a class system.
It is. It's an oligarchy. It's royalty. It's tantamount to royalty.
It's, you know,
and you know what? That's what it is. The Pelosi's, the Schumers, the Bernie Sanders, and all people on the Republican side that have been there 10, 20, 30 years. That's in effect a royalty class. And I'll say it again. I forget what show I was on. I think I was on with. Anyway, you know, we have the 22nd Amendment, Wayne, which limits the presidency to 2 consecutive terms. You can only be president for 8 years. And we're supposed to have a balance of power between the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. So if it is limited, but if the executive branch is limited to an 8-year term of service, then to be a balance, we should also limit to 8 years the terms of service, and I use that term loosely, in the judicial and in the executive.
Well, I contend this.
Oligarchy in the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Exactly. No congressman should run more than twice and no senator but once. And if you're going to make it balanced, then make it 2 terms on all the houses. And you cannot be an attorney, a lawyer, and run for office. The founding fathers knew this. It was designed to allow the farmer, the carpenter, the plumber, the guy who carries the shit from the cowshed to come in and be the voice of the people. We don't have a voice anymore.
And no one ever, the founding fathers never imagined a person with such low integrity, a person of such low morals, that they'd actually want to be a professional politician.
Never.
Our founding fathers never imagined that. They imagined the plumber, the lawyer, even the lawyer, the plumber, the lawyer, the optometrist, the shoe cobbler, come to Washington for 4 years or 8 years, do their service, go home. They never, ever imagined this under the rock, bottom-feeding, creature of the night, long lifetime political elected official. And if it's, let's be consistent, 8 years for the executive branch, I'm all for it. But I also want 8 years for the judicial branch and 8 years for the legislative branch.
Yeah. They won't do it, though. They exempt themselves from, and here's the thing that burns my ass. You take the oath.
You know what burns my butt, Wayne?
What?
A fire about that high.
Yeah, every time. Is that once, let's say you get elected, Mike and here, they took our Congressman Kaufman, who, I think he was part of this plot, and brought in another guy that was almost his mirror, but just the opposite polarization of view. The first time you get sworn in and take the oath, you have a lifetime pension. And that pension goes up if you sit on a committee. If you chair a committee, your pension goes up. If you become Speaker of the House or the minority whip, you get more pension.
That's great. If they made me king today, Wayne, my first act as dictator would be to eliminate every pension for every single elected official. And then I would probably take some of that money and put it towards people that spent 20 years serving their country in the military and give them a better
Well, you know
retirement.
the other thing I would do? It would be mandatory for all Congress people. You're going to live in barracks. We're going to build you
Ooh, beautiful.
barracks, and that's where you're going to live. The Senate as well. You will live in barracks. You're there to serve the people, not to serve your sorry ass and making you rich. You will
nice barracks. I mean, we'll make it a
we'll
nice
give them
place.
cable. We'll give them Fox News. CNN won't be allowed in. Neither will MSNBC because they're part of this whole conspiracy.
Yeah.
But that's what I think we should do. All elected officials will be in barracks.
And we will find out who really wants to be a public servant and who really wants to be a rock star.
And they take public transportation, no security for you. People say, you can't do that. Well, you created this environment, live in it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, they're going to get us.
Live in it, exactly.
And that's the other thing. By the way, there should be another mandate put out. No congressperson can pass a new bill without first going back and either revising or eliminating 10 previous laws on the books.
Well, Trump floated that. I don't know if they blocked it or not.
He was right.
No new regulations without the elimination of at least, I think he said 5 old ones.
I think he said 5, yeah.
And my second thing, Wayne, would be to stop delivering mail on Saturdays and save that money. We don't need mail on Saturdays.
Listen, Congress has played the 3-card money game long enough. The reason why the post office is in debt is because they've been stealing from the post office funds, as they've done with the Social Security fund. Now they kick the can and it won't go down the road anymore.
And Delaney Jackson makes another good point. Assad, who's the horrible guy that the whole world has to kill, Assad drives his own car to and from work.
Yeah. Go figure. I'm sorry.
Pisces 69, who's up in Canada, she says, you get mail on Saturdays? Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, like what? And I say just farm it out.
Take the weekend off, man.
Farm it out.
You can't tell me that UPS and FedEx can't deliver a package or a letter twice as fast at half the cost.
A 1 cent, a 1 cent. The stamp now costs 55 cents.
That's crazy. Yeah, we got to get rid of the U.S. Postal Service.
I'm thinking
and we got to get rid of the IRS.
Well, the IRS should never have been there. Listen, I'll tell you, Rand Paul had it right. The way to eliminate the IRS is this. You institute a national sales tax.
Exactly.
It's a flat 15% tax.
I think you could do it with 10, but I would go 15.
Well,
but Zora, the post office is delivering on Sunday because they're contracting for Amazon. That's not the U.S. Postal Service. That's Amazon.
It's Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's Jeff Bezos' idea. I'm going to do the post office. He did buy the old post office building. No, he bought the Washington Post. Excuse me. But that's another idea. We could literally solve this problem overnight. But you can't have it. The IRS is the arm of the punishment.
It is. And
Lois Lerner never went to prison. Why? She broke the law. It was felonies. She got away with a fat pension and a fat retirement bonus check.
Isn't that crazy? Do you remember way back when Steve Forbes was running for office and he floated the flat tax?
Yeah, I do.
But it needs to be tweaked, though, because Buchanan had a great line in that Republican primary. Forbes's plan was going to tax income, or income, not the people that had inheritances wouldn't get taxed. So everybody's got to be taxed at 10%. Buchanan had the great line. He says, so let me get this straight. The person pouring the drinks for you and your boys at the yacht club has to pay taxes, but the ones drinking them don't. So it's got to be, everybody's got to pay 10% on all income. All income.
Since they claim that the United States is a Christian nation, God demands 10, United States demands 10.
Yeah, exactly. If the rat bastard can get by with 10%,
I mean, come on,
the
folks.
rat bastards in Washington to be able to get by with 10%.
And literally, we would absolutely eliminate the structures. I think you could eliminate virtually, I think Trump was right, probably 5 of the major bureaucracies that have turned up there. Health and Human Services, Department of Education, Energy. I mean, those departments could go away. You don't
Absolutely
need the complexity of them. I would say that the military complex needs to be not only having a haircut, I think it needs a burr haircut because, again,
why is the military sacrosanct, Wayne? Why does everybody, even most people that are woke, say, oh, yes, we got to build up the military. We got to have a strong military. Why do we all believe we got to have a strong military? And what if the strong military is being used not just to keep us safe from the horrible Chinese, but to hunt us down, track us down, tag us all, bag us all, and make sure they know what they got so they can decide what to do with it?
Did you hear I know you didn't. Thursday night, I did my radio show on the Artist First. We had my wife, I think there were 6. We had 4 Sikorsky's troop carriers, the big helicopters. They were literally, Jeff, 100 feet off the deck.
Whoa.
Our house, we have a 2-story house. It literally was shaking.
Pisces 69 says, don't worry, Wayne, the Space Force will protect you all.
Long live and prosper. But yeah, I don't know. And I know we're in the politics side of this, but we have got to wake up. We've got politicians that are so asleep. And and I'm convinced of this. There is strong unseen forces at work. I mean,
yeah.
I think these people come in with good intentions, many of them. I think there may have been, I may be naive on that, but I think downside people really want change. But they get involved in an energy they're not prepared for. They're going in there thinking their Bible is their protection and this is the way it is. And they get into that mall called Washington, D.C., and they begin to meet spiritual archons that are far greater than anything they've ever met in their church.
Maybe it's not even that deep, Wayne. Maybe they get there thinking they're going to make a difference, and they get there and they somebody's carrying their bags, and somebody's wiping their nose for them, and somebody's putting them in a big, beautiful place, and they find out they get free health care for life, and they get free transportation for life, and they get all of this money for life, and they start thinking, oh, I'm really important, and I love this money, and you mean you're going to take it away? No, there's a reason why. The number one rule of a bureaucracy is protect the bureaucracy. And that's what we got in the United States is a bureaucracy, an oligarchy that's running this country. And until we break it, and I'm not calling for violent overthrow, it doesn't have to come to that. Until we break it, it will never, ever end. And we've got to break it. And it's got to be a combination, I would think, of term limits and elimination of pensions for elected officials.
But doesn't that sound like a spiritual indoctrination to you?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
their mantra is eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow they perish.
You've got that senator from Minnesota and the way that she treats her staff known this way. Reports that she dehumanizes them.
Like Hillary Clinton?
Worse. Apparently this woman, I think the story that leaked out that she wanted to eat her salad with a comb, and she made her staff killing each individual teeth on the comb.
Why would you want to eat salad with a comb?
I don't know. This woman, read the stories about her. I won't give her name. Check it out. We've got people, Jeff, that I don't think they're they're no longer human.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a soul.
Makes you wonder.
I mean, we've talked 42 minutes on the politics of this country, and what we've described is nothing more than a hellhole. It's a matrix. 69
is suggesting some locations where that comb could be deposited.
But we just do the same thing. They allow our voice out there because they'll mock it. They'll diminish the message of it, because the vast majority of people will never hear us. The vast majority of people will continue to be in the system. They're not going to be awakened. And I don't think they want to be awake.
Wow. Wayne, do we have to worry about Sharia law in the United States?
Yes.
Tell me why. I don't see how that can ever be instituted anywhere as long as they're still voting.
I'll share a real life story I had, and I was a member of a very elite conservative, the most conservative political group in the country. And my wife and I sat next to Ed Meese and his wife.
It sounds like the Heritage Foundation.
It's even above them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we help pick their presidents. So I'm sitting with Ed Meese, and
former Attorney General.
Yes, under Ronald Reagan.
And this is something else we could talk about, because I don't know what it is, Noahide laws, but go ahead.
So Ed Meese has dedicated his life since leaving public office, particularly because of the invasion of Sharia law. I believe it's in Michigan. In certain courts, you have a tribunal right next to a judge. Oklahoma attempted to get rid of Sharia law, and it was voted down by the Supreme Court. So yes, there are courts in the United States that will bring you before a Sharia tribunal.
And that's documented. That's a fact. Documentation of that. So I'd have to see that. I just can't believe it's true.
It's here. You have to understand.
How is that possible?
Well, you've got Muslim communities, particularly in Minnesota. That's the one state. Remember what Obama did by his program, where they went into these countries and brought millions of Muslim refugees, and they planted them in communities strategically around the United States. And in these communities, Minneapolis, St. Paul is one. The majority
huge Somali population.
Yes, they are Muslims, and they rule themselves under Sharia law.
So, will they put non-Muslims before Sharia tribunals?
I have heard that has been the case. Yes,
but it doesn't matter. This is the United States of America. Sharia law doesn't rule this country.
You're wrong on that.
I know, but that's the way it's supposed to be. We are not supposed to have. This is rule of law, not Sharia law, constitutional law.
I sat in think tanks, Jeff.
So where the hell is Donald Trump on this?
It's a good question. Very good question.
That's treason. That's an invasion from within.
Been ongoing since the Obama administration.
Somebody called him Islama, and
maybe
it's not too far from the truth.
If you remember, there was, under the Obama administration, it was an executive order that Muslims get priority over everything.
As far as immigration, right?
Oh, no, you're wrong. No, I'm talking federal appointees.
No way.
Yes, sir.
That sounds like an invasion to me.
That's why I left politics.
Invasion.
My wife and I couldn't take it anymore. When we began to see appointees that were only being appointed in key government positions, they're still there.
Amazing.
We don't talk about Valerie Jarrett, but no one brought out, even when they tried to crucify Roseanne Barr, when she brought out the truth about Valerie Jarrett, the woman holds a dual passport. Her father is a mullah in Iran. No one talks about the $190 billion that Obama illegally sent on his last day of office over to Iran. Hell, that could have built the wall around the United States 6 times.
And nobody talks about, you very rarely hear anybody talk about, what was her name? Hillary's girlfriend, Uma.
Yeah.
Abedin or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Abedin, Iranian royalty, basically.
Yeah. Again, we don't hear about Deborah Wasserman Schultz. Why isn't she in jail? She broke and breached Congress security. I mean, We live in this illusion. Why isn't Eric Holder being brought before charges?
Isn't he running for president now?
Yes, he is. Not here to talk.
So if Donald Trump is draining the swamp, why isn't he doing anything about any of this?
Why? You see, this is the real guts of it all.
Yeah.
We have a Justice Department that's compromised. I mean,
absolutely, positively. And it's not only that.
You know what it is? And I'll say what it is. They've turned into a Gestapo.
Yeah.
This is Gestapo type of operations.
It really is. There's no doubt about it.
This is what the Department of Justice has become. Gestapo procedures, policies. You know, what would change the Americans' mind on this is when we saw these guys, McCabe, Comey, the rest of them in handcuffs, doing the perp walk. Let them stand for the treasonous charges they did. Comey deliberately intervened in a federal investigation where Hillary Clinton was concerned. We know it.
And I was wrong. Huma is Saudi, not Iranian.
Yeah.
Or Uma, however you say your name. It's crazy. I mean, this stuff is actually real, is ridiculous. And why we're on ridiculous, and people say, "Oh, Jeff, you're against Obama. Why didn't you like Obama?" Here's the real reason why I don't like Obama. Because we live in a nation right now where the population of blacks in our nation, let's just round it off, is about 20%. That's the population of blacks in the United States, about 20%. And if you go to the prison system, the population of blacks is about 60%. And now we've got the rise of a lot more of these for-profit prisons. And you've got, if you're going to have a for-profit prison, that means you've got to have prisoners. And the easiest ones to get are the ones that can't afford good legal representation. So you go after the low-income blocks. And in this country right now, blacks tend to be a part of a low-income block. So you got 50% of your population in the prisons black, only 20% of your population in the country black. And then the first black president doesn't say one damn word about it or do one thing.
Oh, actually, he did. He made it more private.
Exactly.
Yeah, and made the laws more harsher.
I would have loved to have a black president that would really do something for the black people instead of put them deeper under the plantation house.
Well, why do we have to make them black? Why can't we just be Americans? A country that, is homogenous in our views, but we're a single people divide with many different aspects, many different races. That's why I left politics. I've seen the Supreme Court judges. I've seen the senators. I've talked with them. And it doesn't do any good. I remember I was a part of this group during the Obama administration, and I had to call down the Speaker of the House in a question and answer because the violations that they were allowing to take place. You see, Trump is being called on virtually every executive order that he does. But we've got Barack Obama, who went nearly through 1,000 executive orders that were never challenged.
Yep.
He did this whole cell phone thing that cost the American taxpayers billions of dollars that went to the pockets of one particular company.
And why would you give people cell phones?
Why?
Why does everybody need a cell phone?
Why did he alter the FCC commissioner rules to the point that exactly why?
Now, is it just for safety, or is it, in my conspiratorial mind, a way to aid the illicit drug trade?
Let's get real about here.
Or tracking and monitoring. That's a good one. Say that again.
The cash for clunkers. Barack Obama broke security laws. Remember, there were millions of American shareholders that he wiped away on a signature of his pen when he nationalized General Motors and Chrysler. The stockholders we had to take a third position, and some of us lost everything on our stock holdings. But no one talks about that. Let's talk about The energy debacle that under the Obama administration cost the American taxpayers nearly $50 billion that went to companies that never paid it back.
Yeah.
Where is all the uproar, Congress, about this? Where's your investigation, Schiff? Why don't you get your shift out of your ass and get into, excuse me, I'm losing it here.
That's all about it's all about money laundering and paying money to people. It's all about the rich. It's all about them paying themselves, and it's money laundering.
We went through 8 years of gangsta government, and the problem is we still got the gangsta.
Was that Bush or Obama? Are you talking about?
I think it came with Bush, but Obama pushed the pedal down, and we still got them all through. We got these rats. They're all through the government. They're plants. And you want to know why I fear for, it's not Donald Trump that I fear for. I fear for the sanctity of the presidency, the office of the presidency.
Yeah, they are systematically dismantling the office of the presidency of the United States. They really are.
This is a travesty, Americans. We cannot allow radicals that are in Congress and in the Senate. Schumer, speaking to you, you fork-tongued devil, that you can come in and begin to diminish the office. They never did this with Obama. This is the problem.
When it started, Wayne, I think is, Ronald Reagan would not even take his coat off in the Oval Office. Love Ronald Reagan, hate Ronald Reagan. There was still the sanctity, the decorum, the respect of the office of the presidency of the United States. I think where it started to change, and the more I think about it, this was planned and perpetrated. The more where it really started to change is when Bill Clinton went on Arsenio Hall and played the damn saxophone. That's when we started seeing the debasing of the office of the presidency.
Yeah, he wanted to be a star like Obama.
And now we got dumbass reporters challenging and arguing with the president of the United States. That has never happened, and it shouldn't be happened. Grab those people by their arm and never let them back into the White House press corps.
They're not reporters. They're political hacks.
They are.
Acosta is nothing more than a political hack for the far left. He's lost. He is not a journalist anymore. In fact, I dare say that most of the talking puppets that we see on CNN, MSNBC, are nothing more than political hacks.
And the only reason Anderson Cooper doesn't do it is because he's such a sissy. He'd probably wet himself when Trump responded to him. So that's why he doesn't do anything live.
It's just, folks, we better wake up. Ronald Reagan said this: it only took 2 generations and the United States will be gone.
Yep.
That's 40 years.
Somebody in the chat room says this has to be a tongue-in-cheek joke. Bill Clinton and Joe Biden did a lot for domestic violence and women's issues. They did a lot of perpetrating of them.
And here's the hypocrisy. They stand up there, and this is the problem, America. They think you're an idiot. You should hackle them down. Never allow a rally to take place. And the organizers, tell them to shove it up there nowhere, because we're tired of their rhetoric. And this is all they're doing. It's the constant rhetoric ratcheting up division. This is why I'm not going to say this, why I'm so tired of this Nibiru community, this Planet X. I've seen this crap now for 8 years, and it's nothing but regurgitation of fear porn. And It's the same thing in politics. You know what? If there was a Planet X, it would have been here by now. We'd have seen evidence. Get over it. Maybe we live.
What are Noahide laws? Do you know?
No, I do not. I'm not sure. What is that?
I don't know. I keep seeing it pop up, and this is terrible. This is awful. Noahide laws. And let me Google it and see what it says. Noahide laws.
So, the Supreme Court struck down this week states and cities that have been illegally confiscating Americans' properties under the guise of fines and levies. Supreme Court said, you can't do that. You've exceeded your step.
Looks like no-eye laws are basically Judaism's answer to Sharia law.
No. Well, I can say for this that yes, the Bible, but the laws of this, there is a document out there called the Two Treatises, and it was based upon the Magna Carta on the foundation of what our republic is. We're not a democracy. The founding fathers knew that democracy.
That's the key right there.
Yeah, they knew democracies fail. Ours is a republic. And that's the key difference. And
a representational republic.
Yes. Unfortunately, Americans don't realize this. We're not a democracy. And that's the reason why we have the Electoral College.
Yep.
It meant that you could live in flyover country, Kansas, and still know that there is a way that your voice will still be heard.
Absolutely.
So,
was it Socrates or was it Aristotle? I think it was Aristotle that said democracy ceases to work when you've got more people than you can see from the top of a hill.
Yes.
I think that was Aristotle.
And by the way, I don't like the guy.
That's true.
It's true. John Hagee wrote a book called The Financial Armageddon That's Coming. Came out in 2012. He actually had it right. He actually did the study. Yeah, he actually did it right. He did his research. And what he showed was that the democracies in Greece and Rome failed because we have today the politicians that are doing exactly what they did. When you start handing out benefits like their candies at trick or treat, that becomes nothing more than enslavement. And then it becomes the point where the producers no longer produce because they can't carry the burden to the ones that are receiving the benefits. And that's where we've passed the tipping point here in the United States. We have less producers today than the ones that are actually taking benefits, taking it from the taxpayer.
Yeah. Somebody, I think OC, isn't she the one that proposed 90% taxation rate?
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, that's only after 10 million, so it's okay. That just shows how stupid people are. 10 million people with $10 million aren't really that rare. There's a lot of people with $10 million, but the problem is you don't really start being able to create companies and create jobs until you get in over that $10 million range. If you tax them at 90%, they won't create businesses, they won't put their wealth at risk, and there won't be any more jobs.
Well, can I ask a question? Why do we need to tax anyway?
Exactly.
Why is it necessary to have this bureaucracy, this burdensome on the American people that is nothing more than a millstone around our neck?
Because
we don't
they need a millstone around
bureaucrats.
our necks to keep us down.
We can have a police force and fire. We can have a sanitation. And the rest of it, mayors, we don't need you. We don't need your city councils. We don't need to be paying you anything. Listen. Why doesn't the Democrats or the Republicans come in and run on a foundation? I'm going to eliminate 50% of all tax requirements, and we're going to reduce government. No, it's constantly more money. It's like the education in this system.
Pat Buchanan tried that before Trump did, the original America First. I mean, Pat Buchanan said we'll do a 12% national flat tax. You can fill out your taxes on a postcard. We can get rid of the IRS. It's over.
We can get rid of the bureaucracies. And let me tell you something, national education, the NEA, it's the biggest con on the American people. I built software systems in the 90s for public educations, Texas, PEAMS. And when I found out how the education system runs in this country, it's a serf system.
Yeah.
You see, we keep spending money in education, but the con is it's the top echelon. It's like paying a pope tax.
That's exactly what it's like.
And that's what it is. We're never going to get better in education. Never. Because the system is corrupt.
Yep.
Oh, Jeff, I mean.
The school system needs to be as local as possible. There should be no national
and in Texas,
there should be no Department of Education.
Yeah. You folks in Texas, y'all are really screwed. Your superintendent of your school district controls your property taxes. He doesn't need the legislator. He doesn't need a court. He can or she can raise your property taxes by whatever amount they so desire.
Well, let's just take a deep breath and go back and let's just look at it objectively. Let's look at test scores and literacy rates before the implementation of the United States Department of Education. And let's look at literacy and test scores now after these many years of the U.S. Department of Education. If it works, if the scores and tests, if the literacy rates and test scores are higher, keep it. If they're lower, get rid of it, and you know exactly what the answer to that is.
I'm sorry.
They're trying to make an idiocracy because, you know, politicians prefer unarmed idiots.
Me too. I mean, today, a 12th grader cannot pass the 1890 fifth grade examination.
It's just ridiculous.
I mean,
but Wayne, can I say this? And it was nice having this many subscribers for a while. But the reason why so many people still want to hear about Planet X and Nibiru is because they've been taught in this U.S. education system, and they're no more sophisticated than the idiots watching Kim Kardashian's butt.
I hate to say it. Listen. I propose we may have seen our universe completely wrong. I'm saying that there may be more stuff out there, but what I'm saying is that I got tired of the constant rhetoric of this topic, and I just had enough. And because, after you've been in it for about 8 years, you go, well, this is the same crap that comes back around. You know what? It's that people want catastrophe, Jeff. Let's just be candid. People long for the day when there's going to be a catastrophe. People love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's itching ears, heaping to themselves teachers, not, wanting some unsound doctrine. Everybody wants something. Vince Proctor. Yeah, you're exactly right, Wayne. Interesting stuff. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't know, man. I just don't know. What do we do? What do we do? Real world, what can the 413 people in this chat room do to try to turn things around?
We have to throw out all the old ways. I think we have to come in with a clean slate and look at this from the very primordial foundation. Why are we still enslaved? Why do we hate ourselves? Why do we hate each other? Why is it that the color of your skin makes us somehow different? Why is it that the amount of money you have in your bank account somehow makes you superior? I mean, these are crude. I think there's a word I want to use, and I want to choose carefully. These are archonic mindsets.
Yeah.
Jeff. And it may very well be that this firmament that I keep talking about, that I'm beginning to see into this thing, the human brain can be controlled. We know this. We know that you can put a spell on a person that makes a person suddenly fall asleep. There's different things that we can do to us. And I often wonder, are we not under some sort of intoxicant that we're not maybe even aware of? There's an answer, Jeff. There is an answer.
And, I was watching something the other day about Prince, or actually Prince was on an interview, and Prince made an interesting correlation that I've never seen because, I just never seen it. Prince said that, everything would be fine in the neighborhood. Everybody be getting along. Everybody's happy. And then the chemtrails show up, and then everybody's at each other's throats.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like this. When you do a video, we do these videos to share knowledge, and you always get the ones that come in and, call them trolls, call them whatever you want. But you can do a show on
20 man 420.
You can actually do a show on love, and you'll get thumbs down.
Yeah, absolutely.
What?
Absolutely.
What? I mean, all right.
Absolutely.
So what do the four thumbs down? And I'm often think about this. Is this AI? Because the article is, you did a show on it. And in fact, now you can go through certain Burger Kings, McDonald's soon. It's a robot.
Yeah. That's true. It's
anyone?
crazy, folks.
Do you get the new term now, digisex?
Oh, my God.
No, that's what they're calling a new classification of gender people.
Boy, Dick Gregory was on point, too, man.
Yeah, he was.
He was on point.
Ay.
Not totally 100%, but I listened to that State of the Black Union that he was in, because Prince said that every white person should listen to it, so I listened to it. Wow, it's some powerful stuff.
He was a philosopher.
Yeah, Dick Gregory, and he was just as tough on the black folks as he was on the white folks.
I mean, it's like I like what he said, got to get this color out, man.
Yeah, he was funny, and he was funny.
Oh, Jeff,
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think the clouds are lower than they used to be?
They are. Yes, they are. In fact, Popular Mechanics actually did an article on that.
They did not. Did they really?
Yes, they did. Check it out. Go to the Great Oracle.
Yeah.
And the reason for it is that the pressure of the atmosphere, particularly the troposphere, is in fact condensing, which causes clouds. Again, tomorrow night when we do the physicist philosopher, the question that's been asked, how do you weigh a cloud? A cloud weighs trillions and trillions of metric tons, but it floats.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
Sean Vest said Gregory won the presidency in 1960. I'd like to see more about that. I don't understand.
Who, what?
Sean Vest says that Dick Gregory won the presidency in 1960.
I saw John Kennedy, so maybe I'm living in a different world.
Yeah.
No.
Somebody says Dick Gregory was Moses, and I see these, black Hebrew people pop up, and I see, the black nationalist, black nationalist Africans. I'm trying to find one of those individuals that has enough bravery, enough tenacity, that's able to conduct themselves like a gentleman. I'm looking for one of you folks that's brave enough to come on this White Boys channel and talk about what white people need to know about blacks in this day and age, and talk about whether or not we can work together, or does it have to be separate living conditions. I'm looking for one of you, and I'm going to say it, I'm looking for one of you brothers who's not afraid of this white boy to step up and have a debate and a conversation on this channel. And until you do, shut up.
Yeah, I see. I grew up in a state home, so my roommate James, he was black. So I learned the appreciation of soul music, the Temptations.
Absolutely.
I mean, my friend, we were like this. I mean, I took a chain in the back for him. Some white guy had come on the state home's property, and James was a short dude, about 5'7", but built. He was a defensive back. Anyway, this guy took out a chain. They were going to have a little brawl, and when I saw the chain, I went and rushed him and took the thing. Tell you what, showed I never had to worry about my back anymore.
Yep.
My brother took care of me, and I'll tell you the story. Years later, when we were both out on the street, we ran into each other. He was with his gang, and he said, "This is my brother." He says, him and I shared the same blood together, and it was just that bond. Now, why can't we have that?
We can have that.
Yeah.
And, for those of you idiots out there, I actually got saved and spent 3 years in a church where I was the only white guy, the Church of God in Christ. It's a 99.99% black church. I was there for 3 years, got married there. The only white guy to ever marry a white woman in that church, first white guy to preach in that church. And I was suffered vandalism from the KKK over being involved in a black church. So shut your stupid mouths.
I was going to say, you white devil, you.
Yeah. Well, we both got fired up today, didn't we, Wayne?
Yeah, we did. I'll tell you what.
But I love the little pipsqueaks, the little crows on a line that'll sit there and say, "Man, look at those eagles up there. They don't know what they're doing. That eagle doesn't know why he's trying." Yeah, while they're sitting there on a power line yakking with a bunch of other crows.
I don't know. I had some person say, you ought to read a few books before you start talking. I just started laughing. All right. Which two?
And Wayne, the whole thing with the whole Planet X thing is that it's all based on Sitchin's research. And let's face it,
God.
much of Sitchin's research should have been written in crayon.
I did a video on him. He did more harm than any, God. And you know what? It started a mindset.
It did.
It did. God, I mean, Dr. Kramer said it best. He said, it was people like Stitchin that took advantage of the ignorance of society.
Sitchin was just trying to make $1.
That's all he was doing. He was trying to make a buck. And he had prime territory. Who the hell ever heard of the Sumerian tablets, the Anunnaki?
Exactly.
I mean,
boom. Delaney Jackson says Jeff and Wayne are like the Blues Brothers.
Let's just hope
you know what we are, Wayne? We're just like two grumpy old men sitting on our porch saying, "Get off my lawn!"
Reminds me of the movie Dennis the Menace, when you had Walter Matthau. Hey.
See, Chip, you're the problem, Chip. Chip, Andy, CX Crow, you're the problem. Chip says, "I'm black and I voted for Trump." It's your fault.
It's
Chip.
your fault.
You don't really exist. You're a troll. It can't be true. That doesn't happen.
You screwed it all up, man.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. Okay.
Shaking our fists at kids. You're like, "Get off my lawn."
Do like Dianne Feinstein said. Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. I've been doing it for 30 years.
But when I read the article, she was right for what she said. The Green Deal group brought these children in. And let me tell you, you groups out there that bring children in to state your cause, you coward. Put your ugly face in front of that camera instead of that
They're
kid.
just as bad as the terrorists that surround themselves with children. Because they are terrorists.
Ooh. You're going to hell for that one.
They are terrorists.
It's crazy, Jeff. It's crazy. All right. I think we've pissed everybody off.
Well, there's probably a couple of demographics we haven't upset.
Yeah, just give us time. We'll get to you.
Give us a second. Wait in line. Take a number.
It's all coming.
We'll get to you. Wow.
Okay.
But Wayne, the thing that is so frustrating is, we do this every day, and we sit here in these chat rooms, and we know there are a lot of people out there that still have some sense, but I don't know, there must not be enough of us.
No, they try to suppress our voice, and yeah, you're right. The most intelligent people I know are most often in these chat rooms. They're brilliant minds. I so look forward to sharing the energy. Brilliant people.
Oh, Shane says that's the only thing that I haven't done today is talk about how recreational use of marijuana is not good for you. That'll get them riled up.
Smoke them if you got them. Now you know where it came from.
Get all upset. Oh boy!
And I'll just tell everyone.
But at least if you make the pot smokers really mad, they're only mad for like 4 minutes because then they forget about what they're mad about.
Like what? Oh, well,
what? What? Wow! Look at that.
But I sense that it's inevitable. It's going to happen now that we got the little guy out of the Justice Department. I see. I know there's a draft resolution about to be presented in Congress for the legalization of marijuana.
I'm 100% for it for medicinal purposes. All I'm saying is if you use it too much recreationally, it is counterproductive to a productive lifestyle.
The medical pump, but I think they're going to look at it as a way to offset the deficit.
Yeah, you could do that.
Well, preliminary reports from the Commerce Department show that it could bring to the United States almost $2 trillion over. That's, I mean,
Marijuana, the proud sponsor of.
You can see it.
We forgot.
The presidential debates are brought to you by Let's Get High.
Yeah, but somebody just said something brilliant, and I lost it. I lost it. Anyway.
But that's where I see it. And, so you got, and here's the thing. Look where
they would just take that $2 trillion and steal it, Wayne.
They probably would. Yeah, because it won't go to pay the debt down.
No, it won't.
But this is where I see it coming. I really do. I see you have the alcohol companies now investing in the marijuana companies. Tobacco is now investing in the marijuana dispensaries. This is where the money's going.
Yep.
And I will say this, if you want to be a part of the next gold rush, start looking into the dispensaries. The companies up in Canada already taking their position here. And I'm not promoting it. I'm just simply saying from an investment opportunity, this is the next gold rush. I know investors here in Colorado that have made, are you ready for this? 5,000 times their investment.
Now I know why Peyton Manning invested in Domino's.
It kind of all goes hand in hand, don't it?
It does.
It's like when I was doing debit card back in the beginning of the 2000s. You know where I got all my data? Because there was only one place that basically had the data, college towns. And where did you find the data? In the restaurants that supported the college towns, because students were using debit cards more than the average American. Anyway.
Good stuff.
It's been great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Right. And predictably, the chat room just went to hell when I mentioned the Fokker factor.
The big long. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is. It's you're going to make a killing on it. That's all I got to say.
We salute you, ladies and gentlemen, for being in the chat room.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Wayne. That was good stuff.
It was fantastic.
So go over to the R. Wayne Steiger channel and make sure that you subscribe. And while you're here, subscribe to this channel. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up. If you hated it, hit the thumbs down.
I think we're doing okay in the percentages.
I think we're doing okay.
I appreciate you, Jeff.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have pissed off everybody now.
I think we have.
So our work here is done.
Peace.
Peace out, brothers. Favor on all of you.
Yes. Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
Jeff, it's been great.
Take care, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.